Hey everybody, just wanted to do a short video on a floating bead necklace. So a floating necklace or a necklace with floating beads is something that's done on any kind of beading wire. I've chosen a sterling silver bead wire so that I have a nice bright silver wire in between the beads. And so normally you would bead on the wire and your wire would completely covered with the beads. So from one side to the other, all you would see is beads. This way, or this technique, we're going to utilize the wire itself and some crimp beads to kind of stop the beads at certain spaces. I've got my wire all prepped. I've got it cut into 3 separate pieces, a 22-inch piece, a 21-inch piece, and a 20-inch piece. And then I've marked each piece with markers where I want to have my crimp beads. So I've set my beads at about 1 inch apart. Additionally, I've also marked a spot on each wire where my crimp beads are going to start being at the bottom of my beads. So this is the middle of this wire. This is going to be my first crimp bead on this side, and my first crimp bead on this side is going to be here. The others are marked here in the middle here. This is my first crimp, this is my first crimp bead here. This is my first crimp bead here. So I've got them marked so I know where to go. This is the main piece. It's going to have a center section to it. It's the longest piece. And so I want to go ahead and string up that center piece and then show you how I've done the crimp. I did put my crimp bead on. This is my first crimp bead so that my beads, when I set them, don't just go off to the side there. You can use a bead stopper if you want, but since we're going to go ahead and crimp them anyway, we're just going to continue to use crimp beads. I thought I would just go ahead and crimp it in. So this is going to be my middle section. I am a creature of habit, a habit of creature. I tend to like odd numbers, so I'm just going to do an odd little, or a design of odd 5 beads. But then I know here is the obsidian is not odd, but in the grand scheme of things, it stays odd. So I've got my beads here floating in the middle. And then what I'm going to do to kind of lock them into place is I'm going to put a crimp bead right here onto that right-hand side. So I'm going to thread my crimp bead. And right now I'm just using some very simple base metal crimp beads and a pair of flat nose pliers. Make sure I kind of get it going the same way as my other crimp bead. So this is where I'm going to crimp it, and all I'm going to do is take my pliers, make sure it's in the right spot, and flatten it out. So I'm not looking to get like it doesn't need to be secure to hold my necklace into place. All it needs to do is to make sure that these beads don't run away. And then what I'll do is afterwards I'll go ahead and come back through with a little bit of alcohol and I'll get rid of my Sharpie markers there. So then as I continue on the other side, now I have this space here that I'm going to put my beads. So it's going to stop it here, and then my next crimp bead's going to go on the end there. And again, my creature of habit, I'm going to go for a 3. So that's going to be my next beads. And you can see the crimp bead stops it from continuing on to the middle, which makes it the nice little floating bead motif. And then my next crimp bead's going to go right here. So fun and easy to do. This is a nice way to start. I will go ahead and I'm going to continue to bead, and then I'm going to pick back up with a video at the end to show you how we attach it to a clasp, and I hope to see you then. Although I will see you then because it's just going to be in a few minutes. Well, a few seconds for you. All right. Okay, I am back. I have strung my bead strands. So I have the starter strand here. Then I have my second strand, my middle strand, and my longest strand. So I went ahead and I completed all the beading work, and then I attached them to one half of my clasp, and I attached them in the order that I kind of want them to lay. So short, medium, and long. I could have used a comb, but I chose to just do a simple, just use the crimp beads and leave this open. One reason being it was easier for me to tell like how they're hanging, make sure I got them all crimped about the same equal distance from the clasp so that they'll be the right length. And on my other end, I did the same thing. So I have my longest strand done and my medium strand. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up with the short strand. So clasping, crimping, I'm not using a crimping tool. I'm just using the flat nose pliers, just like I did throughout the necklace. So here I have my, oops, which one is which? Oh no! Middle. I lost it for a sec there. Here's my middle strand, my long strand, and so I'm going to crimp on the inside next to this middle strand. So I have my crimping bead. So this is my stopper. This keeps my beads from falling all over, but it was also a good place for me to be able to gauge where to crimp everything together. I put my second crimp bead on, strung my clasp, which I'm just using a spring ring here, not a spring ring, a split ring, and back through my crimp bead. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull this with my flat nose pliers to be just about like everything else, and you can see those two crimp beads line up nicely with the other crimp beads. And I'm just going to flatten it out. And I'm not worried about whether they're going the same way or anything like that. The wire that I used is a little bit heavy, so it's gonna keep your necklace from really laying on you and poking at you. So there we have it. Oh, I need to cut my ends. So just trimming up my tails here. Got my flush cutters. I like to actually kind of pull up on that little tail before I clip it, just to make sure I have it as close as I possibly can get it. That to kind of double check that yes, I am cutting the tail and not actually the necklace, which I have done before. Embarrassing, but it has happened. And then we get to this side. Crimp. I've crimped, now I must clip. And then my last one, and we're gonna be done. All right, so with this, I don't know if you guys can see it. There it is, it's all done. Actually came out pretty cool, I like it. A little fancier than I had expected. Overall, very nice. So there's my floating bead necklace made with just sterling silver bead wire, some peach and gray moonstone, and some gold sheen obsidian. All right, thanks for joining me, and I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you have a great day. Bye.